There's a sort of madness going on, isn't there? And this morning I was having a cup of tea uh, in a little cafe in Rugby. And as often happens, someone came and sat down and chatted with me. And we were talking about various things, among other things, the story about the local council. Because what we're witnessing is an unprecedented moment in British local government. And George Finch, he was then, I think, 18 years old, now he's just 19, has become the de facto chief executive of my local county council, Warwickshire, a public body with £1.5 billion in assets and a budget of around £500 million. While most teenagers are grappling with student loans or first jobs, Finch is negotiating budget lines, political opposition and policy priorities. Is it a bold reinvention of public service or a reckless populist experiment? The answer inevitably is both. I suppose we're going to call him Finch the Younger. Finch's ascent began with Reform UK's surprising electoral victory in Warwickshire's local elections. Previously a Conservative, Finch was appointed interim leader when Rob Howard resigned, citing health concerns. And on paper, Finch lacks experience. He can't drive, he still lives at home, he planned to become a history teacher. But Reform doesn't trade on credentials, it trades on anger, symbolism and upending expectations. In a deadlocked council chamber, it took the chair's casting vote from another Reform councillor to confirm his leadership. It was a dramatic moment that captured everything from Reform's current momentum, divisive, destabilising, democratically legitimate. And critics, including Labour's Preet Gill, have called the appointment ridiculous and unserious. This is not work experience, she noted pointedly. Finch's response, ageism. Well, I think he's got a point. He has framed his youth as an asset, a fresh perspective untainted by bureaucracy, unburdened by compromise. He points out that nobody questions septuagenarians like Biden or Trump, yet youth alone is not necessarily qualification for office, nor is resentment a substitute for policy. And here lies the tension. Finch speaks with conviction, but rarely with depth. He's clashed with the council's chief executive over the pride flag, championed vague notions of British culture, defended hiring political assistants at the cost of £190,000, despite pledges to cut waste. Why? Because the councillors themselves haven't come up with any ideas. So they've outsourced ideas for £190,000. Finch's Reform's test pilot in office, and like any prototype, he's prone to instability. His call to remove a progress pride flag outside the council headquarters drew national attention and local protest. His justification that British culture, not identity politics, should be the focus. But this was more than symbolism. It was a clear signal that Reform UK's campaign against what they call diversity orthodoxy is no longer rhetorical, it is operational. More worrying still is the contradiction, promising efficiency while inflating the cost of political staffing, speaking of merit while undermining institutional expertise, railing against bureaucracy while outsourcing ideas to private sector aides. Reform's greatest risk is this: the longer it campaigns on vibes, the more naked its policy vacuity becomes in power. Finch's appointment is not just a local curiosity, it's a national case study. It raises serious questions about Farage's party as a credible governing force. How do they define leadership? What is their actual policy agenda? Do they believe in the institutions they now control? The answer is fuzzy. Some Reform councillors have resigned after days or weeks. Others have been caught out for failing to declare jobs or for inflammatory social media posts. And while George Finch is not personally scandalous, he is the product of a party that thrives on disruption, not coherence. He says his friends support him. Some voters say, give him a shot. And perhaps we should. But voters must also ask, what are the long-term consequences of placing inexperience and ideology above expertise and deliberation? George Finch is not the problem, he's a symbol of it. His elevation is the result of a system in flux, one where traditional parties are flailing, where populism is no longer performative but real, where voters are so fed up that they will gamble with the institutions that underpin their own services, and if he succeeds, even modestly, he becomes the poster boy for Reform's viability. If he fails, he becomes another cautionary tale of political overreach. We may yet remember this summer, not for heat waves or headlines, but for the moment a 19-year-old took control of a country, or of a county, and reminded us all that democracy is never guaranteed. It must be stewarded. Finchmere won the vote, but the verdict is still out. And Warwickshire, like the rest of Britain, will be watching. Will certainly be watching from Rugby.